once it's available to use. It's pretty decent. So I'll show y'all where to get this from later on too. So I'm going to start by kind of going through this first, and then I'll show y'all some stuff on the systems. So today, hopefully, we'll show you how the custom documents work, how to understand how customizations work, and all that good stuff. Understanding best practices and the resources available. Where can they be used? They can be used on accounts receivables, order entries, purchasing, inventory control, all your different invoices, orders, and all that good stuff. What can we add to custom documents? You can add merge fields, static text, and images, logos, graphs, different sums, and all that stuff that's included in the merge fields. On merge fields, the merge fields are used to pull data from a particular field in Intacct. The available fields and their merge field syntax are listed in the objects in the catalog in either the customization or the platform services. Static text can be added to the custom document template. The static text is actually text in the Word file. And then images can also be added to custom documents, and the supported types are the JPEG, PNG, and GIF. Merge fields, they're used to reference and include a field. They are made up of two parts, the field ID and the merge field indication. These cannot be typed in directly into Word. You can do these by Control F9, which I'll show you later. To find the merge field IDs, the catalog contains both the ID and the object fields. The simplest way to get to these are to go to the customization or the platform services and go to catalog, and you can find them there, or you could do it through the more action view as XML and do Control F to find your what text you're looking for, and it will show you the merge field that's associated to it. Or you can go online and you can download the complete list through their online help page. So to find them through the XML, you would have to go through the object page or through the transaction page and find them here. So you go to your transaction page, click on the more actions, click the view as XML. When you do that, it will bring up a complete list of everything on that page, and you do Control F to do the Control Find, type in your field or what you're looking for, and it will highlight everything that's associated to it. To open a second page, and same up here, you do Control-Alt-D with the Control Enter. Works really nice, instead of having to go up there and copy it. So show you this later. So to create a custom document template and set it up for use, you must complete the following steps. We got to choose the Word file for our templates. We would enter it, edit it in the Microsoft Word. We would upload it back into Intacct and assign it to the transaction for the customer. To pick out a template, we would go to Platform Services, Customizations, go to Templates, and it will list out a list of all the transactions that are available. I'll show you that. So went to Platform Services, and on this tab here, we have Custom Documents. And here are all the invoices and different templates that we could pick from to use as a go by. There's quite a few here. There is a list out here, which I can give you access and show you where they're at. It gives a list of everything they have and kind of gives you a quick sample of what they look like. So you kind of have an idea of which one you kind of want to pick from. Get something that's similar to what you're looking for. So again, that's under Platform Services or Customization and under Templates. And here's all your templates. And you just export those out, which we'll go over a little bit more here in a few minutes. When you do those templates, you could tell it where to go to by telling it what application, whether it's an order entry, purchase orders, accounts receivable. That's the top level object. And you have your transaction screen, because under each one of these you have multiple. So under order, you can have several different types underneath it. So this is kind of where you would set it to if you want a sales order versus an invoice versus a credit memo. Sorry guys, this is a different section. Messed up my sheet, sorry guys. And so once you pick the sheet here, you would edit it, which sorry, like I said, the sheets are messed up. So should show you. So you'd come here, click on export. That will download a file to your download folder. And then from there, you would have that to modify. This is going to that list I showed y'all that shows all the different samples. Okay. So once you find it, you would click the export button, we dive in and edit, importance of the table, look for tables. So how does a template handle the variable numbers of the lines, variable number lines of the lines? Looping automatically adds table rows as line items are processed. The key thing here, it uses a table start entry and a table end entries. Shit. So here's that file that's downloaded. Yeah. Yes, this is the out of the box, one of the out of the box templates for an invoice. This is what you would use to start your modifications, okay, kind of your starting point. I would find it to be best to try to use something that's already existing instead of going out there and creating something from scratch. So you find one that you want to kind of modify. And I'll show y'all kind of where we're at right now on ours, what we've done. So I've taken this one. This is what I started with on ours. This is what we finished with. This is one of our finished products here. Modified it. There's quite a bit in here that we've done. There's a few buttons on here that will become pretty important. First one is to create a new merge field. You would use Control F9. And it will insert your brackets. You can start typing in, or you can do edit field. You have to find your merge field ID here, and then type in your ID from the catalog page. Another important button is the Alt-9 button, which will show you all the syntax behind everything. This will actually show you what the field ID is and all the extra stuff that you would do to it. If-then statements, kind of shows you the whole picture. Okay, so we'll take this as if we just save this and we want to bring it back into Intacct. So once you've saved it, you would save the file. You'd open it. Start back up. Let me back up a little more. So once you exported your copy that you want to start with, the next step is you would have to create a custom document template here for your custom one. So if we wanted to create a custom invoice, we would come here and do add, give it the name, the description, and this is where you're going to tell it where to go to. So it will be an order entry, purchase order, accounts receivable, or inventory. So in this case, it'll be order entry, and then here will it be a sales order, an invoice, a statement, whichever you need to be. So in this case, we're going to do an invoice, and then we would choose the file that we want to upload. So the file that we just modified, you would have modified. We want to show you is this one, upload it, and we would hit save. Once that's saved, then whenever you print an order entry or an invoice, and there's another step in there. So once you have that created and that uploaded, you would come to order entry and go to your transaction definitions, which will tell it what file to use. So in our time and expense with retainers, this is where you assign your files. So down here in printing on the bottom part of this page, you assign each one of your order transaction types, a template to use. So they're all here, all the ones that we just looked at. And that's how your order transaction entry screens will know what file to use. So once you've created an invoice, created a template, the custom document, you link that custom document to your transaction screen. When you go into the order transaction now, it's okay to print these, show these. You make sure you don't email something out. So you hit print. So there's a few key things. Every time you make a modification to your sales order, to your document, custom document, you must go to custom documents and upload it back into it. So just because you saved a custom document in Word, it doesn't upload automatically back into Intacct. You must go back and save it. So each time you save it, you have to go back to your custom document template and re-upload and resave it.
John, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Can you go over again and explain the difference between copying a template and exporting it, and when would you do one and do the other?
It's, I think, let's see, go back real quick. It's one of the same. When you copy this, you're copying this whole, you're copying everything. Where you're copying the actual, you're creating a new custom document template here. So if I did copy on this one, it's going to copy the hardware and software invoice, and it's going to force me to rename it, so I'll have a new template. Versus where if you're exporting it, you're just exporting the document. No, you're exporting the document, the Word document that's associated with this retainer. So if I hit export, all I'm doing, I'm not messing with anything in Intacct. All it's doing is exporting this document out so you can modify it. So all it's doing is copying this, it's creating that Word document on your machine. To where when you do a copy, you're just copying and creating a new instance of that line. And then you'll have to reattach whatever file. You're not going to have a new template to work with, a new Word document to work with.
So when would it be more appropriate to just do a copy? Anytime?
In this case, like what we did, we started off with this invoice time and expense invoice, and then we came back and created one with groups. So I did a copy on this one to get me this instance. But I already I used a Word document to create a second copy of it. I copied it and created one of the groups. And then I used that one to create the second one. So I used a copy to create all three of these, create the different.
So the edit capabilities after you copy is much more limited than if you were to export it and modify it that way, right?
I could walk through this. So to copy this, we're gonna make a second one here. And then from here, if we wanted to put this under accounts receivable, if we're going to use this kind of so instead of having to retype all this, and potentially your settings within here, there's another section here which I'll cover here in a little bit. Or if I just wanted to create another instance with for a different company. So you have, if you have multiple companies, you have, your header on company A is set up this way, but now I need to make a company B. I would just come here and do a copy so that all of this is still the same. I would still have to upload my file. So here I would have to upload another file. Let's grab this one and hit save. So now I have my company B, or my second one. Export, again, is only to get the document. So if I wanted to modify this document here, I would have to export it first to be able to modify the actual Word document. Export this one. So we would save it. Then once you saved it, and then once we have that, then you would come back here and edit this again, and you would upload that file. Correct. And correct. So I would come back into transaction definitions. I'm not going to do this because it's a live system. I would edit here, this transaction, and this would be time and expense, company B. Come down to the print template document, and I would grab my new document. So did that help any on the difference between export and copy?
Yes. Do me another favor. Can you open it up in Word where you were modifying it?
Sure.
Now, can you look in the different fields and see what the field length, for instance, say your database has an invoice field of 30 characters. Can you check this here to be sure it would accommodate 30, up to 30?
No, you have to save and print it to test it. It won't tell you the character length.
So it's kind of like a trial and error. You can't really tell.
Correct.
And then how do you do a preview from here? Can you do a print preview or from at this point?
No, because this one it's not linked to any real data. It's not looking at the database until you upload it into an Intacct. So there's no print.
You have to upload it, and then you can see it. And then if you need to modify it, you need to go back here, and it's just a trial and error, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I know when I work on it, I usually have 2 pages open, one to the order transaction screen that I'm working with, and then one to the custom document page. That way I have both pages open. I do save a lot. So usually I have one on this page, and then I'll do a second page and have it have it to my actual order entry screen. So I just go in here and just hit print once I've saved it.
And if you want to modify, the font, do you have to do it field by field? Can you like lasso several of them at one time and change the font all at one time?
Yes. So if I wanted to change all of these fonts, I could come here and just do one big.
Okay, great, good.
And on the more advanced side, you can come in here and modify that. Come in here, this star merge format deals with the formatting aspect of it. Here I'm telling it I want commas and the 2 decimal places after 2 spots after the decimal. You can include the dollar symbol if you want to show the dollar symbol in it. So the merge format kind of takes some of that into consideration too, as far as formatting your fields and how many numbers you'll actually see. So if I wanted to see 5 decimal places out, I would put 5. And that's individually.
Okay, and then another question, if you have an overflow form like a second page, can you see how that looks or control what's on that second page, on that overflow form, or second page?
Yes. On here, you can't you won't really be able to see it. Again, it's one of those test and save and test often, and getting one that will overflow for you so you can see how you're changing it. But you can dictate where things page break and how things flow over. And again, this is F9, so you can see this only shows you the field name, the merge field name. You do Alt F9, it will show you everything. So remember F9, Control F9 and Control not F9 and Alt F9 are two important items. It's not really useful. Only thing when you log in, once you log in, you can use this to insert merge fields, but I find it easier just to copy and paste from Intacct or to hand type them in. Sure. Okay. I was going to show him that there's a two spot for his overflow question. So in home, underneath paragraph here, the little down arrow under line break, these three items here kind of helps control whether or not it page breaks or not. If you want to keep your lines together, especially on a table, keep it next, and if it's orphan, window over orphan. So these three items here will kind of control whether or not if it overflows or not, and kind of where you want it to page break. So again, underneath the home page tab, underneath the paragraph drop down, these three items, along with the table properties. So if you right click on the little arrow, go to table properties for the row. If you're allowing the row to break across the page, so if you have 4 or 5, and depending on where you want it to break at, this button allows it to break apart. And then this one here allows the header to break on the second page. So that kind of goes, so those 5 buttons kind of are what you would use to help control that flow, that second flow. So to get to the objects, there's two places on here to get to the objects. The first one is if you go to Platform Services. The objects are this, or I guess that's your pages, your different objects, your order entries, your main pages. So it's a catalog actually. There's a little twerk here to get to platform surfaces and to really see everything, which is really a little Intacct bug. When you click platform services, you don't see smart events, smart roles, the catalog. For whatever reason, they don't have it set up. To get to those things, you have to go home, the home page, and then go to platform services. I wish it was that easy. So the catalog is the first place you would go to. Depending on what you're at, if you're at order entry or if you're in accounts receivable. So if I want to look at the accounts receivable invoices, I'll look for AR invoices. So you drop that down. These are all the items and fields that are associated to the AR invoice. If I was doing an invoice for an AR invoice, these are the merge fields that I would use. that associated to, so jump back here real quick. That's associated to this right here. So right now, if I went to accounts receivable, invoices, these are the merge fields that that report would be looking at. Versus if I come down to order entry, that's actually the SO documents. So again, these are the fields, and some of them cross-reference, so they'll both have record number. But again, so that record number, if you have it on your document and you're using an AR invoice here versus a order entry one, that merge field would work on both reports. But if you have a field that's not on one or the other, then you got to watch out for that. This is what you would use for your merge field, the customer ID or your field list ID. The other way to find the item, the field list of the item ID, is actually on your, when you're actually in your file. So if I want to find out who the ship to, what field name this is, I would copy this and then go to more action, XML, view as XML, do Control F. And so this field would be the contact name. Sometimes it repeats multiple times. Print as, contact print as. And then here's the ship to contact name. So once you find the field that you want, go back to here real quick. I use AR rec invoice. And use the record number. So if I wanted to insert this field into my document, I would come here and do a Control F9 to start the merge field. You can either paste it in there, but you just have to do some update to it. Kind of easier if you come in here and right click and do edit field. Select the merge field. Okay. Paste that into it. You can make everything all uppercase, all lowercase. So you have a few formatting aspects you can modify here. But the main thing is just making sure that this field here matches what you're seeing in Intacct, so that these two match, and it's case sensitive too. Okay, and that's my, so my record number will show there whenever it prints. This is a header item, so this is a, I guess, a top level ID. It's not a line item detail. So if you were to pull something with a line item, there's going to be a different nomenclature. It's going to have entries on it. If you see something that has entries, you know that it's part of a table, part of a detail line item, versus a, I guess, a header item. And these come from different tables. I'll jump back here. Okay. So this is your, I guess you could say, header, all your top level items, and then you have your items, which is your would be all your entries, all your line details. You can see this down here in the order entry as well. So here's all your header items, all your here's all your line item details. And each one of these have a different object order entry, the transaction detail. So this one, this object here relates only to the time and expense. To do the tables for like expanding table for your detail lines, something to point out here is it must start with a table start. So it's telling the table that this table is going to start with this item and it's going to auto loop down until you come to the end. And you must end it with an end table entries. That's how Word knows that this is to expand the table down as many lines as your invoice has. And everything in between will follow along. So it knows to start here, the project, and it's going to look at whatever items you want on here. Memo, ID, employee, and it would return each line. Yes. So So in here, and this is where the Alt 9 comes into play. So you actually see what you typed in. So on here, you can do if-then statements. Don't think I have one. I don't have a copy of this standard template. So on if-then statement, you would start off with the merge field. It's if, then it's what you're looking at, what you're what you want to hide, what kind of your first part of the if-then statement. If X is equal, and this would be your first merge field, is equal to Y, then true, else false. So it's always the second set of parentheses is always for the false statement. The first one is for the true statement, and then this is what you're evaluating. If X equals Y, then true, else false. If you don't want anything for false, leave it blank. Or if it's true, leave it blank, and it will just pass over it and do the false. So in here, what I wanted to do is see if my PO number would be it's blank. So here it's if my PO number is blank, then leave this field blank. If not, show PO number. So if there's no PO number in the system for this invoice, I don't want to see that line print out. So I don't want to see PO number if there's no PO. So again, it's the first item. If this is equal to this, then true, else false. You could also do, let's see, where is that? So this one here is a whole merge if-then statement. You come here, another little tidbit. If you come in here and I right click on this item here, I can do toggle field code and it will hide certain aspects of the, so instead of seeing the whole thing, I guess you see the actual merge field and not all the data in between it, but yet see, I could kind of customize what I'm looking at. Trying to set it up so very. So on the Mountain Dew, I wanted to show either if they had a retainer or if it's or the Mountain Dew or zero if they don't have a balance. So on here, I'm saying, okay, if the retainer current balance is 0, then I want to show the actual total. So else, I want to see the retainer. And then on here, I have another if-then statement here. There's two if statements. So the false one is if the retainer balance is greater than or it's greater than total, the total, I want to show 0. Else, show the total. So you can go do quite a few. I hate it all. Sorry, guys. There you go. So again, that makes sense, then?
Dan, if you don't mind, I got a couple of questions, if you don't mind, real quick, if you can. John, can you go back to the Word where you're modifying the layout again? The Word document where you're doing the modifications?
This one here or back in Intacct?
Yeah, that's fine. And you can turn on the grid lines, correct?
Yes, sir.
Can you turn them on?
So if I want to show, like on here, if I want to show the grid lines for thing, it's the basic Word. So you just come up here and I could do all border just for this field, or I could do again all for all of them.
Yeah. Okay.
If I grabbed all of them, all.
I guess where I'm leading to is, can you tell on that form where if you're putting in an envelope, where the fold is or where the perforations are? Is there any way to gauge that?
No. When I did mine or did ours, I had a ruler out there and I measured how far it was down. So on this field here, I knew to set it a certain distance. Under table properties, you do option, and you can tell it where to set this field at. So I want it 4 inches across, 4 inches down, and how long the field is, and then that will actually put it where you need to be. So that's more for your window.
Well, can you tell where that field is or where that layout is from the say the margin or the top? So like say you're trying to fit that into a window envelope to make sure it's going to fit. Is there a way to do that, or is that trial and error too?
Yes, sir.
That is trial and error, so you can't gauge it from here.
I mean, I know you can see that under layout in the margins, you know what your margins are. So your top margin here is 1 inch. Yeah. And then from there, then you have the other.
But you don't like to have an overall layout, a grid line, so you can see where that 1 inch line is through the entire length of the document. Okay, yeah, that's what, okay, so that would help a little bit.
And then of course you have your rulers on their side to help kind of gauge,
Okay, and then one other question, sorry, just one more. Is there a postcard invoice layout? Do you know, is there a template for that, a default template for postcard invoices? Do you know, have you noticed?
I don't believe so. I haven't seen any postcards. Now within Word here, I mean, you could take this one here and probably change the setting here.
Well, let me explain. When you're doing a postcard, typically you have one page and you may have 4 invoices on one page that's perforated, and that one page turns into 4 postcards that you can mail out.
Oh, no, sir. I don't think we have anything like that in Intacct yet.
Okay. Yeah, there's a number. I work with a lot of governments, small governments, and they have different, invoices, and some of them will, because they save on postage, so they print them. They want to print them on a postcard layout, and you end up with multiple invoices on one page. And but you haven't noticed or come across that.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
So this will show invoice, 100, and then right below the invoice 200, and 300 all on one page.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then perforate it so it breaks out. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Because that would be more on the X3 side. Because how would you print multiple? Because you would create 3 individual invoices, and when you go and print, how do you know all? You can't print. I guess you do a batch print. Yeah, it'd be interesting to work on. Yeah. So, what's that? Yes. There's a page back here. Oops. Pass it up. Yeah, so it's HTTP www.gmayer.com. They have a lot of good resources. This one right here, and that's one. Thought I had it on the show already. Give me 1 second. Another one is the actual Sage Intacct site, the community. Under supports, not support, sorry. Yeah, under the libraries. So you just search what you so this one has a lot of different different PowerPoints, articles, people asking questions. This has a lot of good resources. And then there was a there's a site that I was just searching for this. It starts with MVP, which is another good one. Yeah. Which I can put this in a so yeah, this one is a good one too. And those three are the main ones I use. Word, Gary Tritt, or the Gray Mayor, and the Intacct website. Any other questions? It's basically it's this all over again. It's the same class. One with Rick, I think his name was. So yeah, it's basically the same slide. You know, groups and really kind of going into more depth as far as the if-then statements, customizing your Word document. Really, it's just an overview of, hey, how, here's Intacct, here's how you set it up, and then quick little overview of the Word aspect of it. Not too much actually on the Word documents. One thing, once y'all do get into it, on here under sorry, it's something that I didn't find out until later. If you do make any modifications to the setup field preferences, and this is where you kind of would control your sort order for your details. If you make a change, you close it out, you save it, and you go back into it. Even if you don't do anything to it, just reopening it, it loses all your previous changes. It's a quirk that it has, and they know about it. Hopefully, they're going to fix it here soon. Because there's yeah, so if you change the order of the way that these items sort, again, you come here and you save it, and then next week you come back, you make a change. You have to make all your previous changes as well. So that's really kind of a nuisance.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I have to ask. What whatever says new look coming soon? What's that all about?
This is because I'm in the beta version, so this is the. I'm pretty sure this is what. I don't know. Are they making a big change to this, Dan? I think I can do. Yeah. So this is the new one. Everything's over here on the side. On the old one, there's no side program drop down. It's from this drop down.
Hey, Dan. On the partner office hours yesterday, she was saying that I guess there's some changes coming this weekend to the new UI, and she was also saying that for new clients, you should start them off on the new UI because the old is going to be pretty quick. Okay.
And supposedly this was supposed to be going away. They haven't taken this down yet. They're not using this. Supposedly, that's what we've been told. If you download it again, it doesn't really do much for you, except it gives you the ability to log in and insert your merge field. That's all it does. It gives you a list of merge fields that you're able to use. Yeah, but you have to log in, and it's 2 or 3 steps long to get it logged in. So to me, it takes longer to log in every time than it is just to go to Intacct and pull the merge fields from there. So that's what that is. Yeah. No problem. Thank you.